Hello and welcome to an Hour of Devastation draft here on Cheap SMTG. This is the first draft I'm filming. I've done a fair few so far. We're also filming this immediately after the Pro Tour. I think the consensus coming out of the Pro Tour is that red and green are the best colours to draft. In terms of this pack, however, we've opened up a rare that's not really playable in draft or sealed. Some solid uncommons, like Devotee of Strength, Ominous Sphinx. Bitterbow Sharpshooters is a solid 5-drop, though there is quite a lot of 3, 4 and 5s you can play in this format, so I think if you're going to pick cards with priority it should be 2 drops. I think the pick here though is just Open Fire. It's a very solid removal spell in this format. It can also go to the player's face to win games. Like I said, I do like the Ominous Sphinx, but I think red's a better colour. I definitely prefer to draft the red deck. And I think Open Fire is just a really solid card. It's definitely one of the best commons in the set. Okay, in pack 2, there's not really that much that stands out in this pack. The strongest card for me is going to be this Obelisk Spider. It's obviously 2 colours, so we don't want to take it that early. But I found flyers to be really effective in this format, and a 1/4 reach is just annoying, and the fact it has extra abilities on top is even better. Sinuous Striker is fine. I quite like the blue-white Eternalized decks, in which decks this card is pretty good. There's deserts we could take. I think you do need to take deserts more proactively. Red is certainly a colour that can rely on deserts. There's also just Sunset Pyramid as well, which is also a pretty solid card. I think I'm going to take Sinuous Striker though. Sinuous Striker can happily go in like a blue-red deck. If we end up not playing red, it can go in blue-white. I think it's just an all-round reasonable card. Okay, so this pack is pretty weak, I think. Hollow One I've never actually played in draft. I assume there's a reasonable deck that wants Hollow One. I presume it would be blue-black, or maybe even black-green. I don't think we're going to be the deck for it. Chandra's Defeat is a great sideboard card. I don't think we really want to take it third pick though. I think the pick here is a Catcher's Avenger. Going towards the 2 drops are at a premium in this set. Catcher's Avenger is one of the better 2 drops. Of the other cards, I mean, Granitic Titan and Rampaging Hippo are both fine 6 drops. They finish the game and cycle if you need it to in the early game. Marauding Bone Slasher is a fine 3 drop, basically going to be a vanilla 3/3, but I think we want to take the Avenger here. Both red, white and white, blue are pretty good archetypes in my mind. And being past a Burning Fist Minotaur makes me think red might be open. Again, this card's a premium 2 drop. A 2/1 first strike for 2 is a good rate early in the game, and the fact you can discard and pay 2 mana to make it like a 4/1 first strike or even a 6/1 makes it reasonable in the late game. There's also Dauntless Haven, which I think is a pretty good white 3 drop. Flying with Pseudo Vigilance is good. A red Desert and Blur of Blades is also reasonable, but I think it's definitely the Minotaur here. Okay, so we're in another pack which is not insanely powerful. I do quite like this Avon of Enduring Hope. I think this card's proved reasonable. It's a 3/3 fly for 5, seems to do the job in this format. We could take Hostile Desert. It is a desert. It's colourless, which isn't perfect, but it's a manland, so it can have some uses. I think it's better to be taking actual cards, because right now we don't have anything that relies on deserts. We could pick up, say, a Sand Strangler in pack 2, in which case we would really like a desert, of course, but I think I'm just going to take the Avon. I think it's definitely the safer pick. Okay, so red-white looks pretty open to me. I quite like Manticore Eternal, but I think I'm just going to take another Aketra's Avenger here. Again, premium 2 drop. Allows us to be aggressive. The format is slower than triple Amonkhet, but I still like to be fairly aggressive in my decks. And I think we'll be able to pick up Manticores in pack 2. This card seems to go later than I think it should. A flick 3 is a reasonable way of finishing the game. Okay, so now we have a choice between Granitic Titan and Survivor's Encampment. Survivor's Encampment is a desert. It's not the best desert, but it does also mean we can potentially splash. And like, Granitic Titan's fine, but if we want to be an aggressive deck, we might not be looking on playing that many 6-drops, so I'm just going to take the desert in case we pick up any cards that need them. Ooh, I do like me a Kenra Scrapper. So this is the thing about 3-drops and 5-drops being pretty low priority. We've got playable 3-drop and 5-drop in this pack. I'm going to take the Kenra Scrapper because I think this card's pretty good. I'm really impressed with it. When you exert this card, you don't lose out on anything because you attack for 4 when you'd otherwise attack for 2 twice. And it has Menace, so pretty good. Solitary Camel here. It's a reasonable 3-drop. Again, it's a payoff, or a slight payoff, not a massive payoff, but there is a payoff for having deserts. Well, that's quite nice. This is quite a late desert. I wouldn't expect to see a desert 10th pick. And we're definitely not playing God-Pharoah's Faithful. Yeah, I think we take Granitic Titan here. Disposal Mummy's just average. We'll be able to pick up 3-drops, and a 6-drop that cycles is going to be useful. Like I said, we'll be able to pick up the Disposal Mummy. I'm just going to pass both these cards. We're not going to play green or black, so whatever small signal person next to us wants to take there. Again, not going to play Moaning Wall, so we'll just pass it. Get a nice full art island. Okay, well, we've opened Nicol Bolas. We're not playing Nicol Bolas. As tempting as it is, Nicol Bolas is a great win condition, no doubt. But yeah, we're not playing Nicol Bolas. We're going to have to pass him, I'm afraid. I think the pick here for us is Sandblast. We could also take a Dauntless Haven, but I think I'm going to take the removal spell here. I mean, we could also take like Unraveling Mummy and Splash Black, but I don't think we have too many zombies, just like a Disposal Mummy that we don't really want to play. I think it is a close pick between the Haven and the Sandblast, but we only really have like this Kenra Scrapper for Exert, I guess the Avengers as well. But Sandblast is a solid removal spell. We could take another Sandblast here. We could also take a Manticore Eternal. We could also take Wall. Wall is a reasonable card, but if we're looking to be aggressive, we don't really want cards that have Defender written on them. I think I'm just going to take another Sandblast here. Removal's always good in draft, and I think there's a chance we get to pick up another Manticore Eternal. Or in fact, that one could wheel. Okay, well, this pack's pretty good for us. We're going to take another Burning Fist Minotaur. We'd happily take a sideboard Challenger's Defeat. Blur of Blades would be a reasonable addition. Gilded Ceradon, or the Manticore, I'd happily end up with one of those. And Kenra Scrapper, I'd be really happy if this card wheeled. But yeah, Minotaur's definitely the pick here. We're doing quite well for 2-drops here. We have 4 good 2-drops. Ooh, Pride Sovereign. And this is interesting because Pride Sovereign is a very good card. And we are already white, and this card wants you to be green-white. We only have the Survivor's Encampment for fixing, but this card is very good. The other option is we're just going to take a Catcher's Avenger. Could take a Desert of the Fervent, but our own real payoff at the moment is Solitary Camel, and I'm not that bothered about lifelink on the Camel. This is a card that, you know, you will play sometimes, you won't play, so I'm not all that bothered. The safe pick here is a Catcher's Avenger. The powerful pick is Pride Sovereign. I'm just going to take the Avenger here. We're looking like an aggressive deck. You tend not to want to splash in your aggressive decks. We will play a Vizier of the True, though. Again, this is another pack where I'd happily take a Desert, but Vizier works really nicely in a red-white deck or a white-green deck. This is an aggressive card. We already have 4 cards with Exert written on them. We're looking to be aggressive, so tapping down creatures as we attack is great. So yeah, definitely taking the Vizier. Ooh, Desert's Hold. This is a really late Desert's Hold. White is definitely open. Just seems to be flowing. This is another card that will pay us off for having deserts, though this card's fine without deserts. It's definitely the pick here. There's another Sandblast, which I think if Desert's Hold wasn't in the pack we might take, but yeah, Desert's Hold's just better. Take another Sandblast. We will be getting slightly clogged on 3-drop removal. The Steadfast Sentinel is just a pretty average card. I'd prefer to play other 4-drops than the Sentinel, so I'm going to take a Sandblast. I think it's unlikely we end up playing all these Sandblasts, but we'll see. So we take another Desert here, or another Camel. If we'd taken the Pride Sovereign, we would pretty much have to take the Survivor's Encampment, but I'm just going to take Camel. Dauntless Haven Wield. Yeah, white is massively open. Chandler's Feet is a great sideboard card, but Active Heroism is a reasonable trick. Being able to untap means you can attack, or you can just get around Exert. So I'd quite like to have at least one copy of these in my fairly aggressive decks. Probably take Gilded Ceridon here over Blur of Blades. I think Blur of Blades is a good card, but I think Ceridon just gives us a little bit more late game. No cards we're particularly going to play here, we'll just take the trick. If this were a pod, I prefer taking the trick because it's one less thing you have to play around. Sure, we'll take Proven Combatant. This defeat does nothing against us. Graven Abomination is in fact an abomination that you don't really ever want in your main deck, and I think you'd only really be desperate to sideboard it in. So deck's looking pretty reasonable. We'd like to see some, maybe a bit more beef. A few flyers would be nice. Emberhorn Minotaur is pretty nice. Fits our 4-drop as well. We have another Mythic Rare Planeswalker which we can't play. Protection of the Heckma, no. I'd like to see Brute Strength wheel, and given how open white was, Cartouche could wheel, which would be really nice if we could pick up a trial. But I'm just going to take the Emberhorn Minotaur here. Another aggressive card with Exert on it for the Vizier. Ooh, Warfire Javelineer. We currently only have, 5 instants and sorceries, so the Javelineer is probably not at its best in our deck. We might just take the Necrop Entangler. Another aggressive card. We are looking to be aggressive. Let's just take Cartouche, but we already have 2 2-drops with First Strike. Yeah, I'm going to go for the Entangler and look to be as aggressive as possible. Okay, so this is interesting. Sweltering Suns, I presume is really good against us, and we're probably never going to cast it ourselves. There's another Cartouche, so I'm going to assume we're getting at least one white Cartouche back. So I think we just take Gustwalker here. We don't have many zombies for Innerketra's name. In fact, do we have any? No, we're probably going to cut the disposal when so I assume we don't have any. Gustwalker again, very good 2-drop. So we're just going to play like mono 2-drops here. Ooh, we'll take Cartouche of Zeal. Tarkrop Elite, very good, and I would quite like to have it. But Cartouche just allows us to be that bit more aggressive. Hopefully, if white is really open, Tarkrop Elite wheels, we might get Thresher Lizard back, potentially. So I'm pretty happy with our deck as things stand. Maybe we wanted 1 or 2 more deserts. Just so we don't get flooded, we can cycle them away. Ooh, Fanbearer. I mean, Fanbearer and Bloodlust Inciter. We definitely played both, but we're definitely taking Fanbearer here. Fanbearer is a very good card in pretty much any deck, but aggressive decks really like being able to proactively tap down creatures. I think we probably just want to take like Winged Shepherd here. Owned Khopesh is tempting, but I think I prefer to take the Khopesh when you have flyers and creatures that can't be blocked, which we don't really have. Like we have one Gustwalker, one Aven. Kenra Scrapper, I don't know if Aven is flying as well, but Kenra Scrapper's not terrible with an own Khopesh. There was also a temptation to take Sun Scorched Desert. It's another desert for that Desert's Hold. Yeah, let's do that. I don't think Wind Shepherd makes much of a difference in our deck. Neither of these cards, or none of these cards, really going to make much of a difference. Like, Vizier's potentially a sideboard card against like a very heavy -1 counters deck. So I guess we'll take that. We'll take the Worldly, seems like a reasonable sideboard card. That's a late Ruthless Sniper. It's really quite a late Ruthless Sniper. It seemed that either the Scything deck's really open, or there was like one person drafting it and they got an Archfiend. Not playing any of these. Like, I don't think Protection of the Heckma is a good card, so I think here we would just hate draft. Usually I just hate draft tricks where I can, because we don't have to play around them then. Or we don't have to play around them as much, I should say. Censor. Yep, Cartouche came back, that's quite nice. There's also Inner Catcher's Name, which is reasonable. I think I might take this, given there's a possibility we get another Cartouche to wheel. Not in this pack. I don't know how good a single white Cartouche is. Okay, well, no one opened God-Pharoah's Gift. Wing Shepherd did wheel. Okay, well, I'm reasonably happy with our deck. Pack 3 wasn't as good as it could have been. We didn't really get that much out of it. But we have reasonable creatures, decent removal, and a fair chunk of it. It's what I want in my draft decks, really. In terms of what we're going to cut, possibly just going to cut like a camel, and like I think Inner Catcher's Name's definitely cuttable. So we don't have any actual zombies. Although we definitely could flood the board with creatures and then it becomes a reasonable card. But I think we're looking to sort of play the aggressive killer creature and keep attacking game. Definitely going to be a 16 land deck, so pretty happy with this. What lands do we want? We're going to play 3 deserts. We are going to play this Sun-Scorched Desert. Just our mana requirements are double red at worst, so I think it's pretty reasonable. I think it would be 9 plains, 7 mountains, but given we're playing a colour source, 2 I guess. I guess 8/6. Desert of the True counts as a plains, so 7 plains, 6 mountains, and then that gives us 7 red sources, which I think is probably enough. And 9 white sources, which also seems reasonable. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with this. Let's see how we get on in round 1.